Hey, hey guys. Hey. First off, I need everybody to tell me what the audio and the visuals are looking like. All right. Let me know what the audio and the visuals are like because I am streaming off of my phone right now. So if you are watching, just give me an update on that. I know there is somewhat of a delay, as always. Hello, all. Quinn, just staring. Yeah, I'm just staring. I was looking at someone on the screen. Sorry, guys. And there's a bit of a delay, as always, with streams. How do I get the comments to stay there? Video is a little laggy and blurry. Your microphone looks like a water bottle. That's because this is a water bottle, not a microphone. So everyone saying you are good. You are good. Hello, looking and sounding good. All right. All right, so thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone that's showing up to watch me trash Game of Thrones again. It's been a minute. This is in preparation for an upcoming video that I have specifically on Jon and Dany. But here's the thing. So I wanted to do a video specifically about Jon and Dany and their crap relationship from like season 7 to season 8. It was total garbage. Got a whole video coming on that. It's gonna be super cool. But like in the process of kind of like researching and writing the script for that and all that, I really came to the realization, not even came to the realization, rediscovered the fact for myself that it's not just Jon and Dany that are terrible and have terrible relationships. It's all these characters. It's all I had to bust out the Blu-rays, of course. Yeah. Notice there's no season 8. I think I actually did buy the season 8 Blu-rays, which is why this is kind of weird. Right. So I bought them and then I moved and I didn't make the effort to make sure the season 8 ones were with the rest of the Game of Thrones ones. So I have no idea where it is. Probably for the better. You know, it can just kind of be forgotten. But yeah. So I decided that, we just stream and talk about the suckery of all the characters, keeping it casual. Let's see. As much as I dislike Game of Thrones, those later seasons, I still collect all the Blu-rays because I'm kind of a completionist. So yeah. So it's somewhere around here, my season 8. Who knows? Uh, yeah. But oh yeah. So what's going on? What's going on? Yeah. Season 8. Season 8. Well, see, here's the thing about the Game of Thrones characters. It's like some of them start off good and then just become bad in one season. And then there's characters like Arya, whose like descent into like awfulhood is so gradual. It's like they keep you almost thinking that she could get better. It keeps you almost thinking that it could be us. So what am I eating? These are fruit roll-ups. So let me give you an example about the Arya thing, right? So it's like Arya is a badass in the book because she's always weaseling out of situations, right? And they literally call her Weasel at some point because she's always figuring out how to slip out and get out of situations. She's very cunning, like a cat, which is also why she's called Cat at some point. But what they did in the show, instead of showing us Arya being really cunning, outsmarting all these adults in really clever ways, they show us that like once or twice maybe with like Jack and Hagar when she outsmarts him with this whole give me the three names thing when she figures that out. But they don't really go the extra mile either. So basically, they gradually scale back the cunning Arya in favor of just like the easier route, which is just like, let's just make her like an invincible little Batman. So instead of like having situations where Arya cuns her way out of everything, she just starts killing everyone. And it really started in, and I like this scene, but the chicken scene, I don't know if this is where it started, but this is kind of exemplary of it. Even though it is a cool scene, and it's kind of taken out of the Mercy chapter. Basically, it's just her killing. It's not her working it out in an intelligent way. And so it was already on that trajectory, already on that trend. And you're thinking like, oh, it's kind of good. It's good for what it is. Maybe it could be better. Let's see what happens when they get to Essos. And then and then she gets to Essos, right? And this is where like the bittersweet feeling of Game of Thrones always comes into play, right? They reel us in with the atmosphere and the look of everything and the feeling of everything. Like when Arya first got to Bravos, I was like, man, it's back on track, baby. They're bringing it back. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do the A Feast for Crows stuff, and it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be mystical. It's gonna be magic. It's gonna be awesome. And then gradually, as it goes on, what it's revealed to be is just boring, and it's a series of endless dark scenes with vague dialogue and training montages. Like, I can't. Look, here's the thing: nothing in the show version of Bravos made sense. Nothing. Like, nothing. Not the fact that Jack and Hagar was there. The Faceless Men's magic made no sense. How they operated as a secret organization made no sense. They're just doing stuff out in the open. Um, Beating up Arya, blind girl, in the street, out in the open. So I don't. It was completely inconsistent, and all those little things. See, it's a fine line as well. I think it's a fine line between, I think, mystery and just like plot holes, right? And that is what D&D did not get, right? George R. R. Martin knows how to keep a certain degree of kind of ambiguity and mystery. What's really going on inside the House of the Undying? He doesn't tell you how it works, but he leaves hints. Like we talked about this in one of our Winds of Winter predictions episodes about the scene when Arya puts on a face for the first time. It's almost the way they're describing it is almost like a surgical process. Her face has to be cut. There's different there's elements to it. It's an entire process. But then what we get in this show is basically sometimes it's cutting people's faces off, but then sometimes, as we saw in the one scene where she betrays him and steals the face, sometimes it's just literally pulling endless, infinite faces, right? And I guess in the books it does say that their magic works to some degree by like wearing the faces. I mean, it's implied that one element of it, and we did discuss this in that video too, is that one element of it is that they're wearing a physical face. And then there's also the Faceless Men's ability to glamour and all sorts of other skills that they have to make someone look different than they appear, like muscle control, all sorts of things. But the problem with the show is that it's totally vague and they don't even bother. You don't have to explain it, but at least lay the groundwork and give us like the hints, like George R. R. Martin is doing, so that we can maybe piece it together for ourselves or have some inkling as to like the way it actually works. Because we don't get any of that in the show. Um, and these problems become more dramatic as it goes on. Now, before I get into how the Faceless Men's magic and those problems play into Arya's character later on, let's talk about the other element of the show's interpretation of the Faceless Men that totally ruined Arya as well. The way they perform. Let me get this. I've got some super chats. Did I have missed? Um, what the show did to Stannis was unforgivable. Yes, indeed. And I also got a super chat from Bitterstill. Like Arya, Duel, and Brienne, none of that made sense. They went show fan favorite routine instead. I agree. It was totally show fan favorite. All right, so let's get back to the other element of the Faceless Men that the show got totally wrong, which is the way I got into this a little bit. The Faceless Men. Think about that name, Faceless. Right? It's not just because they wear faces, it's because they're hidden. It's because they blend into the crowd. It's like you're not going to notice a faceless man if he's just standing around. No, he's hidden, right? Um, so the whole style of combat that we were seeing in the show with Arya training with like the what's it called, the staff, spinning staff thing, backflips, all of that is totally and or should be totally and utterly irrelevant to what the Faceless Men do and how they operate. Right? When Jack and Hagar is initially introduced, how does he go about killing? Poison. A dog goes mad and attacks. Man falls. It always looks like an accident. It could be an accident, right? It's not obvious. They're not walking up to you in the middle of the street and stabbing you a bunch of times, aka waif, right? So this whole Batman, League of Shadows, backflip trick. This is not even a skill set that Arya should even have, right? What she needs as a faceless man are the skills that she was already developing in the book, which are the abilities to like blend in and weasel your way out of situations. I mean, the element, the killing element is there, but yeah, the fighting, the whole spear thing, it was way over the top. It didn't make any sense for what the faceless men do or how they operate. Um, and then, of course, later on, after training with Styx with the waif for a few months, we see extreme superhero Arya. We got, as I like to call her, um, Batman Arya, and we of course got that obnoxious scene where she's fighting Brienne. So it's like they took it, they have her train for that one, I guess, season in Bravos or 2 seasons, whatever, which is supposed to be a couple of months, but then they retconned it at the end and said that each season was actually a year, which if you go back and actually look, it doesn't make any sense to have each season be a year, but whatever. So let's just give them credit and say Arya was training for 2 years. Brienne has been training her entire life. And Arya goes off and trains with Styx for 2 years. And she's a superhero suddenly. All right. Yeah, so that element of it made no sense. Right? So that the training, like I said, I skipped over this. What they did was each season they had Arya jump in her skill set without any explanation as to how she made that jump, right? So from season 5 to season 6, Arya is way more badass, and from season 6 to season 7, Arya is way more badass, and then by season 8, it's like lightning fast spinning spear, like taking out all White Walkers instant. It's like ninja. It's total ninja. All right. And then so like the ninja skills on top of the nonsensical faceless man magic. What do we have in Arya? Like just like this crazy invincible death god that makes no sense and is, I don't know. Let me get that super chat before I get into my next point. Have to set up for the basic magic rules in fiction. You can expand, but there should be something unifying, tying it together. And I totally 100% agree. And let me actually just pull up the stream real quick for myself so that I can peep out some little elements that are here. Oh yeah, so all of my links are in the description. Yeah, guys, and also let me just take a break and say, yeah, my graphic novel Tadia is launching on the 14th. We're gonna do a whole thing about that. And also, if you want to support this channel and donate in a way that is not YouTube Super Chat, because they do take a cut, then you can always click on the paypal.me link down in the description. It is all there for your pleasure. If you want to support this channel and my rants about Game of Thrones, who would win, Arthur Dayne or Arya? Well, I don't know. Probably Arya if we're going
Does
about the
Arya
show
have a
version.
trampoline? That's the question.
Yeah, does she have a trampoline to jump off of and kill the Night? I mean, she killed the Night King, so I mean, yeah. I mean, it's the show, probably Arya. And another super chat. Thank you so much, Buttermilk Biscuits. You have an amazing perspective on storytelling, and I can't wait for the graphic novel. Thank you. I can't wait too. It's getting super. We're almost ready to launch, like I said, on the 14th on Sunday. It's coming out, and it's gonna be great. Let's see. Let's see, where was I with Arya? So yeah, the ninja skills combined with like the endless face thing, you know, she's like Mystique, right? So here's the thing. I was just saying this the other day about Mystique in X-Men. Mystique is the blue lady that changes or can shapeshift, if you're not familiar. But basically Mystique, when I used to read Marvel comics, and it's been a while, but basically I always found Mystique really, really, really annoying because it was like she'd show up randomly and be somebody else, and it was always such a lazy plot device just to have like Mystique. It was Mystique the whole time. And when when they first started doing this like nonsensical stuff with like the endless faces in Game of Thrones, I was so worried. I was like, are they gonna Mystique? Are they gonna Mystique Arya to where it's like we're just gonna have like people endlessly are gonna show up and we're gonna think it's somebody else and then it's just gonna be Arya? And thankfully they only did it like a couple of times, so it was super obvious when they were gonna do it. They never once tricked me with the Arya face thing. Never once, right? So they was I remember the cringy Oh, I thought this was cringy from the beginning. The Walder Frey scene. Let's talk about how terrible that was. And so we see Arya kill Walder Frey the previous season. Cool, right? He deserved to die. Walder Frey deserved to die if anybody deserved to die, right? And then we begin the next season with Walder Frey again, and he's talking to a room of Freys that we've never seen before. It's a bunch of blank extra. It's a bunch of extras, right? People that we have no connection to whatsoever, right? And so it's Walder Frey, and we know he's dead. So we already know that if you've been paying any attention at all, if your brain was even on a little bit, that's obviously Arya. So immediately the scene has no tension. The scene has no tension whatsoever. So when you go through with the killing of the Freys, it's not impactful. It's not dramatic. I don't feel emotional. I don't feel like vindicated for House Stark. Oh, a bunch of extras just died. Oh wow. That's so that's so impressive. That's so great. Oh, I feel that totally pays for the Red Wedding when, all these characters that were built up for multiple seasons died right in front of me. This totally bland scene with no tension, with Arya dressed up like Walder Frey. And like how the heck how the F did she even get I know this has been spoken about numerous times by various different people, but like still I'm so incredulous as to how she just like lived as Walder Frey for like days or weeks to gather all of them together and host this whole dinner thing. Like, what? No one noticed that Walder was acting a little bit funky, right? You see, acting skills are a part of like the faceless men thing. So when Arya was like, she never joins the acting troupe in the show, but that is a thing in the book because acting is something you would learn, but she
Like,
doesn't.
if I can do old Nan voice, then Arya can do Walder Frey voice.
I guess I don't know, but I mean, like it's just there's so many plot holes. Yeah, so we're getting some super chats coming in. What character do you think
Oh, yeah.
would listen to Chapo? I don't know, my friend. Legit question. What? But thank you for your super chat. Legit question. Was Arya Walder sleeping with his wife, doing the finances and sending ravers to the family for those 2 weeks in between the massacre? That is the question that I'm wondering. That is exactly what I'm wondering. Like, was she like signing all the deets and like all this stuff that Walder Frey would have had to do on a daily basis as like the lord of the freaking of the twins? Arya was doing, and then they don't even. I mean, I need some deets on how exactly that was working, please. Yeah, but that's the thing about Game of Thrones. You just learned at that point. I knew I wasn't going to get any details. You learn to expect that they aren't going to explain anything. All right, so we will continue in just a second. Let me get this super chat, and we will get on. Got a few more things to say about Arya, I think, and then we'll get on to like all the other crappy characters. It's endless. It's endless, people. Quinn, where was the guards in that scene? Why did none of the guards try to stop her on the way out? Um, all the guards are dead, I guess. I don't know. Maybe she killed them all. I mean, going by Game of Thrones logic, maybe she just murdered them all. If we're going by Game of Thrones logic, she did a bunch of backflips and killed out. Oh, I think I disconnected, but I'm reconnecting. Okay, it's back in line. Cool. So let me know if my visuals are still good. My back, because I know it just went
Yeah,
down for a
you're
second.
back, yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. My phone did like a really weird beepy thing and disappeared for a little bit, but now it is back. All right. So what were we saying? So yeah, Arya. In what other ways does she suck? So I mean, even if you move beyond her ridiculous skill set, the character herself as a character becomes totally inconsistent after she leaves Bravos. Completely inconsistent. I mean, there's some inconsistencies before that point, but after she leaves Bravos, I have no idea what's going on in her head. She is not. It's not even like it's a natural character progression, right? So you would expect that the character would naturally become more jaded, naturally become more like the Hound, naturally kind of value life a little bit less. But you have season 7, Arya coming to Winterfell, encountering her sister Sansa, It's been years. I mean, on the show's own logic, it has been like 7 years since they've seen each other. So almost a decade, right? If you're going by their retcon, each year is a season. So why is Arya still blaming adult Sansa for the things that happened when they were like children? How does that make any sense? Like when she knows that the dead are coming, when she knows how dire all of this is, and she's literally threatening. If you forgot, she's literally threatening to chop off her own sister's face because that'll help us prepare for the long night. It's like, oh, Sansa is trying to be the best leader she can be. Let me kill you. Let me kill you and wear your face. Right? So that entire like Winterfell season 7 plot, because of this ridiculous drama that they just had to come, they only had like 7 episodes and they had to invent this ridiculous drama between Sansa and Arya that made no sense, that literally dissolved into nothing. It literally just one day, actually no, we're best friends actually. And then by the next season, Sansa is the smartest person I know. It went from I want to kill you and wear your face. Actually, you're pretty cool. You're the smartest woman I know. You're the smartest woman in the world. Not even that I know. Like she's the smartest woman, and like Sansa is the smartest woman. I mean, it was so like, what?
Sansa is Doogie Howser, but with knives and a trampoline.
I mean, basically. I mean, the level of incredulity that I'm faced with, like trying to make sense of this plot and this character, is just like gargantuan. It's insane. It's insane. Let's see what we got going on here. Uh, we got another super chat. I just came in. Do you think Arya will use her skill set again against the Stark in the books? Hmm. See, that's a potential thing that could happen in the books because of Arya being wrapped up with the Faceless Men, and we know that the Faceless Men, they're not just gonna let her go, right? This whole thing in the show where it's like, you outsmarted us. Now you are no one. You're free to go. Guess our plan that we've been working meticulously on. Screw that. You're free to go. It's fine. Just run off. No, that's not gonna happen. So right, Arya has been training with them. She is. They've spent time on her. They're gonna use for a reason. And we got to remember that specifically, Arya is a skin changer in the book versus the show, right? And a very powerful one, as we also discussed in the Winds of Winter episode, which you can check out. That is the Arya one, Arya's escape. So Arya can warg Nymeria across the narrow sea and warg into cats and see through their eyes without even trying. So she's exceptionally powerful. Oh, and what's up, Gray Area? And there's no doubt that the Faceless Men are aware of this. They have to be. They absolutely are aware of this magic power that they have. And right, so what is can you imagine how useful a skin changer would be to the Faceless Men? Right? Like when Jack and Hagar like gives that, we assume that he like gave a dog like something that made him go insane. But a skin changer could potentially just warg an animal and attack. And no one would be any the wiser. Right? So there's so many potential reasons that the Faceless Men could have for wanting Arya with her particular skin skill set, on top of her obvious nobility bloodline. She's a Stark. So there's multiple reasons, and it could be certainly something like taking out one of the Starks, like Jon or somebody else. Totally. But would she go through with it? Now that's the question. She buried her sword. A girl is Arya Stark. She was never no one. That's why that scene at the end of that where she escapes, where Jaqen H'ghar is like, now you are no one, extra makes no sense because she literally has Nymeria right. I mean, not she literally has Needle like right there. So it's like, no, she's not no one. What are you talking about? She's pointing Needle at you, the sword that you told her to purge and get rid of so she could become no one. So if she didn't do that, then whatever. Then now she's no one. I feel sorry for the actors the most. A lot of those actors did seem very sad. And I'm getting a lot of super chats in. Just so everyone knows, if you want to support this channel, the best way to do it is to use the PayPal link in the description, just because it doesn't take a percentage out of it like YouTube. Something like 30%. Just a heads up for you guys if you want it to support, and you can totally ask the question too, and I can get them on the monitor right there. Let's see. So, but another super chat. What's your given F level for these new season show being made? Is there any hope? Okay, I see what you mean. The new Game of Thrones shows. What am I feeling for them? If I have to be 100% honest, and I said this months and months and months ago, I don't really trust HBO with anything as long as it's fire related at this point. They'd have to prove themselves to me. I know that D&D are not involved, but like a lot of times with stuff like this, it becomes a cash grab, and it's just about like hitting all the same beats. Like I'm so afraid that it's just gonna be like, let's try and hit all the same beats that Game of Thrones hit. Let's kill all the characters in episode 8 to be like Game of Thrones. Let's do all this stuff to be like Game of Thrones, and then it won't be its own thing, right? And yeah, so TV's never really my thing. So we'll just see. I am cautiously optimistic, I would say, but I'm cautiously optimistic about pretty much everything. So that's all I can say about it. I don't have high hopes. My hopes are definitely not up there. Yeah, so I think at the very least you could expect high budget, good CGI. Acting would be hit or miss. The plot would be hit or miss. So yeah. So another super chat. Please go off show Euron and the treatment of Ghost in the show. Yeah, that's a perfect one. I don't even know why Euron's not in the thumbnail. I've done like one of my most popular videos ever is on Euron, book versus show. All right, because Euron is one of the most, I think, egregious examples of like a character that has just been like not even adapted. And that's the thing about Euron. It's not like he was adapted poorly. It was like they did not adapt Euron. It's like they said Euron who? Euron who? I don't care. All right, so it's like I think what they were going for initially is that the show had done this thing where they would blend characters together. So initially when I think what they did to some degree was try and blend Euron and Victarion. And that's why he also has like the axe later on, when he's like killing the sand snakes, or as I like to call it, D&D, like trying to clean up their mistake. But yeah, other than he doesn't have a single one of the he's nothing like the book version of Euron at all. Like, so the book version of Euron has been off sailing the oceans for years and years. He's like picked up countless artifacts. He's got like the silence, and the hull is painted red. It's full of mutes. He's like collected like various like magical things and magical items and like wizards and sorcerer, all sorts of arcane occult items and people and things. He's very much associated with all that stuff. He's been sipping on the Shade of the Evening a bunch. Did we ever see the Shade of the Evening in the show? Mm-mm. I don't think we ever even see the Shade of the Evening in the show. Yeah, and I'm just now thinking about that. Yeah, so he's like sipping on the Shade of the Evening, which if you've only seen the show, like in the books, when Dany goes into the House of the Undying with all the warlocks, they make her drink this messed up potion called the Shade of the Evening that turns your lips blue. That's why Pyat Pre's lips are blue in the show, if you don't know that, because he's been drinking on the Shade of the Evening. So Euron's been sipping on the Shade of the Evening. He's like unlocking all this truth, all this higher knowledge. He's like tripping on the spice melange for you Dune people.
I have the description if you want me to read it.
Yeah, let's read out. LML will read the description of Shade of the Evening.
One flute will serve only to unstop your ears and dissolve the call from off your eyes, so that you may hear and see the truths that will be laid before you. Dany raised the glass to her lips. The first sip tasted like ink and spoiled meat. Foul, but when she swallowed it, it seemed to come to life within her. She could feel tendrils spreading through her chest, like fingers of fire coiling around her heart. And on her tongue was a taste like honey, and anise, and cream, like mother's milk and Drogo seed, like red meat and hot blood and molten gold. It was all the taste she had ever known, and none of them. And then the glass was empty.
Yeah. So it's like this magical, messed up substance that's made from the bark of like these black trees and Essos. It's really weird. It's kind of like a black mirror of werewood paste. Uh, Check out LML's Jojen Paste video, which just got posted. So it's kind of like a reverse of that almost. And yeah, it's a magical substance. So Euron's been drinking all this, tripping on it, seeing all sorts of stuff. He's gotten into his head that he can become a god and transcend his humanity and be worshipped. So in the book, basically, Euron is working on this massive, magical blood ritual that involves like a sea of blood and a new god rising from the charnel pits and and the god will be him and he'll be the yeah. So he's got plans of eldritch proportion, right? Euron in the book. And what do we got with Show Euron? What? What does Show Euron even want? What does Show Euron even want? I mean, I guess first to marry Daenerys, and then to marry Cersei later on. I mean, it strikes me as like D&D, like reading a little bit of the book, not really getting it. So they read the plot of like Euron sending Victarion to wed Dany, and they interpret it as, oh, he just wants to have sex with Dany and marry Dany. No, this dude Euron has like a multi-faceted plan that involves all sorts of blood magic, the dragon binder. It is not a simple I'm going to marry her. So for them to interpret it that way and to reduce his character pretty much all the way down to I want to marry a queen was just like, you did not care. Another super chat, various character development was a letdown. True, and we will get to that in just a second. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks everyone that has given me super chats and donated on PayPal so far. Let's see. Where was I? Euron character.
The chat is afire with Drogo's seed.
Drogo's seed.
I knew that would happen.
Oh my god. I was almost going to be like, just stop there. Just stop there.
No.
Uh-huh.
I lingered on it.
And by the way, if you're watching and you've been enjoying the stream so far, hit the like button. So yeah, to reduce that character to basically wanting to marry a woman, to marry Cersei, to marry Daenerys, whatever, and making him such a goofball, it just shows you like their disrespect for the character. And then also, I remember my point. This is just symptomatic of their greater desire to strip the fantasy out of the story. And D&D admitted to doing this. They wanted as little fantasy as possible. And so you've got Euron, who's kind of like this messed up, magical pirate, dark pirate dude guy, pirate sorcerer, basically. So of course they didn't do that. They turned him into... But I mean, even if you didn't... And it seems like Euron and what he's doing is kind of crucial or essential to the whole plot of what George R. R. Martin is doing here, but whatever. Even if you weren't going to do like the full-on like Eldritch ritual god Euron, why'd you have to give me like a second-rate Captain Jack Sparrow? Like, why'd you have to do that? Like, couldn't you have done better than that? Really? Couldn't you have done better than like than finger in the bum? Couldn't you have done better than like my last moment on Earth is gonna be killing Jaime Lannister because I bantered with him for a little bit? You couldn't do better than that? Right? I just don't get it. I just don't get it, guys. It's like it's the epitome of laziness and just not caring about the character and just not caring about what George R. R. Martin was doing with the character. It's total disrespect of the character. It's not even like a reinterpretation of the character. Melisandre is like kind of like an interpretation, right? She has certain of the elements from the book, and then there are certain things that are a bit different. So that's an interpretation of a character. Euron is not an interpretation of a character. It's like a character with the same name. That's a totally different character. Now here's a story, and you can actually find this interview of George saying this about the character Talisa. We talked about the Red Wedding a little bit and how the Red Wedding is impactful versus the whole Arya Frey massacre thing later on, right? So the character Talisa was initially going to be named Jean Westerling. That was her name in the script until George R. R. Martin got a look at the character and what they were doing with her, and he basically told them, and he said this: if you're gonna change everything about the character, change the name, give her a new name, right? So if you're gonna completely change Euron, give him a new name. Don't disrespect the legacy of book Euron. So whenever somebody Googles Euron, they're gonna see this doofus instead of like awesome art from fans of the book that have drawn Euron, right? I don't. So that's the thing. Give him if you're gonna give me a totally different character, give him a different name, give him a different backstory, and which is what they did with Talisa because George R. R. Martin made them do it essentially. Another super chat. Thank you so much. I read Dune this year. One of my favorite books now. I'm so happy that you read it. Hooked on Ice and Fire right now, but never read Dune series past one. Dune sequel's amazing. Good, bad, average. So you're asking me, are they amazing, good, bad, average? Okay. So a little Dune digression, I guess. Well, in my opinion, God Emperor of Dune, you got to get to book 4 when it comes to Dune. It's the height of science fiction, in my opinion. And then, in my opinion, all the books are good. All the books are worth reading if you want to see like the grand scope of things. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about Game of Thrones. But thank you for your Dune question. I always appreciate a Dune question. And also, if you're just watching, Tadia, my graphic novel, coming out, well, going on pre-sale this Sunday, the 14th. Get put on the mailing list, link in the description, and then you'll be able to purchase it for pre-sale on Sunday if you're interested. So, story about witches, fantasy, horror. There's a lot of new art that's been coming out for it. I've been posting it on the community page here. You can go look at that. There's a bunch on Twitter. There's some on the Facebook page, and there's some on the Indiegogo page. So you can all go check that out. My own graphic novel, written by me. The art is done by the incredibly talented Matthew Weldon. We got John Francois from Image Comics, who just did Middle West to color this book. He just did Middle West in Image Comics, and he's coloring my book. And also variant covers by comic veteran Kanan White and Mike Miller, and also Weldon is doing one of the covers. So that's what we got. That's what we're working on. Okay. Julian Franks, thanks for pointing it out. You know how I roll. And let's see, where were we? So we were on Euron and just like the crappiness of them. Like I said, it's multifaceted. It's multifaceted, and like it is with all of the characters that just became awful. It's a disrespect for the character, and it's a disrespect and a distaste for the genre. Right? For the life of me, I can't understand why two guys would decide to adapt a fantasy series when they clearly hate fantasy. Right? If you hate fantasy, why are you adapting fantasy? Like, give me what you like. Do your Confederate show, I guess. Which, if you don't know, that's what D&D were gonna do. They literally were going to do a show about the Confederate, where they were like all the characters were like the Confederate. So yeah, make of that what you will. Yeah. So it's like Euron. There's not a single memorable thing that he did. It's like they basically just went for this. We're gonna make him comic relief, which is almost like they did their best to insert that in wherever they could. Whether it was just like random dudes that were about to get killed in like 20 seconds, there was always like frat jokes. Euron, Bronn. We're gonna get to Bronn. I mean, my Bronn opinion is a little bit controversial, but we'll get to Bronn. But let's get to. We got a couple donations on PayPal that I should shout out. So we got one from Aris Jonian, $10. Thank you so much. And we got one from Mashal Al Harbi. Thank you so much for $5. Thank you guys so much for donating on PayPal. That is the best way to support this channel because it doesn't take a ridiculous 30% cut like YouTube does. Okay. Exactly. They used Euron. How do you take such an epic horror villain like Euron and turn him into that? I can only imagine what George R. R. Martin really thinks, right? So here's the thing about George R. R. Martin. He's a classy dude, man. He's very, very classy. but you can always glimpse what he thinks from like what he does and how he reacts and like what he doesn't say, right? Um, and him, that Forsaken chapter coming out when it did, when we first see this wacky show you're on, tells you pretty much what you need to know about it. Is that he hates this interpretation. Why wouldn't he? I mean, as someone that has a graphic novel coming out, as I just mentioned, on Sunday, well, going on pre-sale on Sunday. Um, I can only imagine to create like an awesome character like Euron that has all these facets and all this awesome backstory and like all this awesome stuff going on, and have that all just completely be stripped away in the adaptation and be so shitty. It's changed so much to the point where it's unrecognizable. Another super chat. Thank you so much, VT3. Did D&D ever understand what damages they did? I don't think they ever did. Well, I mean, they hid for a long time. It was like they hid out for a while before they did that really damning interview, which I talked about at some point on this channel, where they basically just flat out said that they did not understand the characters and did not try to adapt Song of Ice and Fire because it was, quote, too complicated, and that they were trying to make Game of Thrones for the football audience, and for like housewives and stuff, which tremendously condescending to people that enjoy football and to housewives that also read fantasy, but whatever. Yeah, they literally said that. So they just continuously put their foots in their mouths. It's kind of ridiculous, actually, and kind of hilarious at the same time. Someone says, you should stream on Twitch. Maybe. Someone says, I don't think they care. You're right. I know what they do care about. Their plummeting careers. Let's digress to that. So the Game of Thrones creators, they had so many things lined up after Game of Thrones that just totally fell through. Like first it was the Confederate show, and nobody was interested. Nobody. It's like, do you guys understand that you guys aren't the stars here, and that the star is George R. R. Martin's story? You guys realize that, right? The reason we're here is for A Song of Ice and Fire being adapted and not you, right? So when nobody wanted that, apparently they signed on to do like Star Wars, like the next Star Wars trilogy. But then after the absolute abomination that was Game of Thrones season 8, Disney was like, no. Disney was like, I don't want any of that stink on me. You guys can screw off somewhere. You can go do your Netflix thing, find another deal. So now they're on some Netflix thing, and Netflix sets the bar really low. They gave Adam Sandler like 8 movies, right? So it's like, so yeah. So guys, if you've been enjoying the stream so far, hit the like button. We've got more than 500 people watching, 560 people watching right now. That is excellent. Hit the like button, guys. We can get it up to at least 300 likes, I think, with 500 people watching. Why not? And if you want to support this channel, PayPal link in the description. It is the best way to support this channel. And yeah, so we were just talking about Euron. Let's get into Bronn, and then we'll get into Dany. And then we'll get into, and whatever tangential elements that pop up in between. All right, guys, let's do the Bronn thing. I know that there are some of you out there that really like Bronn, and that really just think Bronn is super awesome.
Crush them.
And super cool.
Crush their hearts.
And by the way, I just got another PayPal from Rebecca Bondi. Thank you so much.
Show no mercy.
PayPal is the best way to support this channel. All right, so here's the deal.
Straight talk.
Bronn is cool in. This is what George R. R. Martin understands. Bronn is cool in bits, right? You have to give us some Bronn, and then give us like 8 episodes before we get more Bronn, right? If you keep giving us Bronn is not an every episode character, which is what they did not understand, right? Like even after like everyone's out of King's Landing, like Jaime is like screwing off in the Riverlands and Tyrion's over in Essos, Bronn is still doing stuff, but it's off screen and it's hilarious. He is like screwing with Cersei so hard, and it's so she's like trying to kill him, and he's just like totally just like sitting or running around in circles, and it's so funny. It's so good. But with the show, it's just like Braun on screen every episode, cracking jokes. Another side plot. We got Braun training Jamie. Doesn't make any sense. He's a sellsword. If Jamie can't fight anymore, the last person that you want to tell is a sellsword, right? So it's like you got Braun and Jamie going off on their like extremely annoying Dorne mission, which I can barely even talk about that. That is one of the most annoying plots ever, and it's made worse by Braun and his banter with like the hot pussy girl. Like I don't. Oh my god, it's just so bad. It's just so bad. And then it continues. Like right when it's like okay, maybe they'll like scale back on the Braun. Maybe they'll chill. Like he's comic relief. It's cool. But maybe they'll just chill on him a little bit. No, still moving to the next season, and it's every single episode. And then it gets to the point where you're like, not only is he around all the time, his actions don't make any sense and are completely inconsistent. Like I said, like I reiterated multiple times, the dude is a sellsword. He is a sellsword. He is there for the moolah. He was always there for the moolah. When Tyrion said, I demand a trial by combat, do you think Bronn didn't know that he was a Lannister and that he had that moolah? That is the whole reason. That is the whole reason that he was even there from the beginning. So for this guy to encounter a dragon by accident and then risk his life to save Jaime, whatever, maybe they bonded. I can buy that, even though it made no sense how he did it. But right in that scene, he's even like, okay, I can handle armies, I can handle all this other stuff, but dragons is something I can't handle. Like, you can't pay me enough to fight dragons. And I thought, okay, yes. It's like, yeah, right? They get it. Like, Bronn is not about to be, like, willingly messing around with a dragon for no reason. Oh, wait. Actually, screw that. He is. And there's no explanation as to why. Because you literally see him right after that, and it's just, like, hanging out with the Lannisters. Why? Like, you lost the gold. Have they even paid you? Like, they just... Why are you here? Why are you here? And then season 8. Season 8, he's still hanging out in King's Landing. And it's like... Oh my god. This is one of the worst. Cersei being all like, go kill Jaime and... You know, go kill Jaime. Right? Just go take a crossbow and go kill Jaime. Right? So does that scene have any tension for anybody? Let me know. When you saw the scene where you got like who was it, Qyburn coming to Bronn with Cersei's request to go kill Jaime. Did anybody, and I mean anybody, any single one of you, with the way they were setting up this character, with the way that they had like presented Bronn at this point, think that he was going to go and do it? No. Not a single one of you did. Not a single. So that was...
I think I have the answer. You know how George sees himself in Tyrion and Jon Snow?
Mm-hmm.
D&D see themselves in Bronn, and they put him in every episode. Because they're just cheap, you know, for hire people that don't really care and just sort of do a job and you know, wander around. And
it's like she gives him the crossbow. It's like, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. Yeah. Whatever, I might do it.
Okay, sure.
But it's like...
I don't know what I believe in. I don't have any sort of morals or anything.
I mean, but like having...
Convictions.
That whole quest, like, it's just like... It's like, again with like the tensionless events, right? The same with the Frey massacre. No tension because you know it was Arya the whole time. The same with this crossbow scene. No tension because you absolutely know that he's not going to do it. Because it just does not follow at all. Like, if you had given me some inkling that would suggest that maybe Bronn potentially would do something like this. I don't know. It's just like, but because the character, I don't know. It's just so dumb. But like I said, overused. Should have been killed in like season 4, honestly, or season 5. But they continuously brought him back over and over and over and over and over again. And he was totally inconsistent. And all he was like a vehicle for them to like do their like slapstick comedy and their dumb jokes. And that's it. and to like be there to save Jamie, and to just kind of be like the bitch boy for House Lannister for a little bit, and which is not what Bronn is. So again, if you really loved this character and respected this character, D&D, wouldn't he be a better character? Wouldn't his motivations actually make sense and not be totally inconsistent? I mean, and the list goes on and on and on, people. Stephen Dillon, who else isn't a every episode character that they use too much? Probably a bunch. There's probably a bunch of them if we sit here and think characters that are in way, way, way too many episodes that could totally be cut out of several. I don't know. I don't know. Probably a few if I sat here and thought about it for a little bit. But let's move on. Now that we've covered Bronn, let's get into Dany. Let's get into Dany, and we've talked a bunch about Dany. And like I said, we've got a whole big old episode on Jon and Dany and their relationship coming in a few days. No. Let's see, before we get to Dany, let's talk about some minor characters also. Let's talk about Missandei actually. Let's talk about Missandei before we talk about Dany, because it'll lead right into that. And Grey Worm too, because that's tied in. There wasn't a single time in the history of Game of Thrones that I cared about Grey Worm and Missandei's relationship. And you know, it's to the point where I like continuously forget that it even happened. Right? It's like the showrunners being like, let's put the two dark people together, because you know it's just like Doctor Who with Martha Jones, and Doctor Who literally gave awesome Martha Jones to Rose's dumb boyfriend because he was black, and it was like the same thing here. Well, it's like just two brown people, let's put them together, and it's like we're gonna try half-assed to build like this romantic bond between the two of them, I guess, but it's really not gonna have any effect. It's not gonna be effective at all. But ultimately, none of it's gonna matter, because the ultimate purpose of Missandei, her entire existence in season 8, was to be killed so Dany can get mad. Oh wait, no. I'm wrong. That's not why Dany got mad. Actually, after Missandei died, instead of flying on her dragon and immediately flying right up there to the wall and toasting Cersei and all of them, if you wanted to, hound everybody, she just went and dicked off a Dragonstone for like weeks. And then when Jon finally denied her the dick for like one final time, then she got mad and burnt down King's Landing. So if like, you see what I mean? If you wanted it to be like, she's so upset that her long-time friend and companion Missandei got killed that she just snapped and destroyed King's Landing, then she wouldn't have waited weeks or however long. She would have done it right. If she was so mad, she literally, remember the scene, guys, right in the thumbnail, that scowl, the dragon is right there. She literally walks back to the dragon, right? She could have killed the queen. The queen's right there. I mean, and Qyburn, and the mountain. I mean, you could have killed Cersei, flown to the Red Keep. I mean, burned through the gate. I mean, it's a dragon. I mean, there's so many. Yeah. So when that viral clip leaked, or not leaked, but when that viral clip showed up before the season of Natalie, the actress, Natalie Dormer, I think her name is, the actress that plays Missandei. Not Natalie, no, that is somebody else. That is Marjorie. Who's Missandei? I forget the actress's name.
Natalie Emanuel.
Natalie Emanuel, right? That plays Missandei, right? When you see her and Emilia Clarke on the red carpet, they're like, so how did you like the season? And then you got Missandei kind of trying to smile, and then like Emilia Clarke like, best season ever. It's just like they're just holding in the horror of it, right? Just holding it in, right? And Game of Thrones has been like, or I should say D&D
have been criticized consistently for their like terrible people of color characters and their terrible like female characters and not really understanding how to write either. And for them to do like a double punch here with Missandei and just like kill her in such a pointless way that made no sense was just like, guys, what are we doing? Like literally, like you could have taken this like extra gear that you took off for no reason to like take a writing class or something. Like you could have taken the extra time to bring in more people and get their opinions on all this. Like, what do you think about this scene where I pointlessly killed this character for no reason? And had it mean nothing, right? A death is supposed to mean something. It's supposed to have impact.
All right. But it's not like Missandei was even much of a character for like the last several seasons, other than like the shoehorned Grey Worm romance thing. And by the way, she's like 8 in the book. Yeah, gross. And he's like 40. Yeah, gross. But whatever. Let's see. So that moves right on into Daenerys. And we were already talking about Daenerys a little bit. Yeah, so Dany, as a character, had some inconsistencies definitely leading up to season 8. But it was never... this was something else. This was something else entirely. And I think previously the inconsistencies just arose from their just like shitty writing, shitty mistakes, and just like wanting to wrap up something quickly and just being like, I don't know. It can get a little bit messy. But George R. R. Martin always did a good job in the books of demonstrating that she was always like kind of like balancing her kind of like subtle underlying ruthless tendencies against like her gentle nature and against like all that. She's always constantly thinking, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the bad thing? Yada yada yada. But here, I mean, and it's not even like Dany has never... See, this is the thing too, right? Let's talk about this. This is another angle, right? This show is like making it like Dany has never been in a stressful situation before. Like nothing bad or hard has ever occurred in Dany's life ever before this point. Like, I'm like, we just beat the White Walkers. You should be kind of relaxed right now, honestly. I get that you just lost another one of your dragons, which, I mean, you should have seen those ships in the harbor, but that's like that's the intersectionality of like crap riding between Euron and Dany when like Euron is in like the harbor and like Dany's flying hundreds of feet in the air. She does not see him and all of his ships, his dozens and dozens of ships.
I don't see ships in the harbor.
It's like what? Yeah. God, where was I?
Sorry.
It's so bad. It's just so bad, guys. It's just like the switch from... Oh, where was I? Yeah, but I where was I about? Yeah, it's just...
Ships in the harbor.
Yeah, ships in the harbor, but before that I was talking about like Dany and how it just totally takes a complete... Yeah, hard times. She's been through hard times before, right? She's been tested and tried before. I mean, Dany survived the Grey Waste. I mean, she went. If we're going strictly by show canon, she survived the Grey Waste. She willingly ventured into the House of the Undying after they slaughtered her people and stole her dragons, and brought those dragons out. Man, she's been through a lot. She's been stranded out without any dragons. She's lost control of her dragons and had to lock them up. She's been stranded out, taken captive by the Dothraki, right? So she has been tested time and time and time again. People that she has loved have died consistently. Things that she has loved have consistently been taken away from her again and again. I'm getting so many notifications. It's so annoying. I feel like my phone does that on purpose. Like when but consistently she has lost things, and consistently things have been taken away from her, and she's been tested. So I don't understand how they expect us to believe that Dany, who has been through all of this, been tested numerous times, and has always managed to do mostly the right thing. I mean, there's some things that she's done that have been questionable. Turn your notifications off for F6. I mean, yeah, probably right. You're probably right. Notifications. There we go. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry about all that nonsense. It's my stupid phone. Um. God, where was I? Yeah. Danny just sucking. I get kind of dejected and sad when I talk about this, actually, I'm realizing. Because it's like they took such a character that people were supposed to look up to, I don't know, and just turned her into something else, turned her into kind of a monster quickly. So like you take it, I don't understand how you expect us to believe that a character that's been tested all this time turns this in 4 episodes, in a few episodes, just because some people in the North were praising Jon Snow a little bit more than her, and just because like Varys the Spider tried to betray her. Hello, Varys has literally betrayed everyone that he's ever worked for, and you should know that. You know who the Spider is. You know what his legacy is, right? And like, and just because of Jon Snow, right? I really, it was the trigger was Jon Snow, but I'm like, Danny, you're Daenerys Targaryen, right? Are you really that in love with Jon Snow? What? Like, I mean, honestly, Jon is cool and all, but like, can you name a single interesting thing that Jon has said like post season 5? Can you name a single like interesting thing that Jon Snow has said post season 5? Because I can't. So it's like what I mean, and I'll get into this more in the video, but it's like they really want us to believe that Jon and Danny are in love with each other and care about each other so much, but they make no effort to show us like why why their relationship exists, why it matters, why they love each other. And they have things that they could relate to each other for, right? They have things. I mean, they come from similar backgrounds, you know, being exiled, being separated from like everything else, and you know, being there's just a lot of things. There's a lot of things. And I don't want to spoil my video too, so that's why I'm kind of stopping. But I got another PayPal, and thank you so much. Like I said before, PayPal is the best way to get donations to me because there's no percentage taken out. Payment from Olivia LeFair. Thank you so much for your $20 PayPal. It's very much appreciated. But yeah, it's beyond abominable. It's beyond abominable what they did to Danny, as countless people have discussed. Like I said, guys, you can go back to my review of. It was more like a reaction to episode 5 after it came out, and it was just basically watching it. I just remember the feeling of what she was going to do and what she was about to do washing over me. Like initially, I think I was very confused, right? Because they have the bells ringing, and you're like, what? The bells, whatever. And then it's like, then she makes that face, and it's like, what? And when she takes off, what everybody thought, including me, was that, okay, so she's just said, screw it, I'm gonna take the Red Keep, and I'm just gonna take it. I don't care about the lives inside of the Red Keep. I'm gonna take the castle itself. So that's what everyone thought, but no. She just starts burning the street. So it's like, I remember like just watching that and as soon as she burned the first kid, like literally burnt like the first family on the street, I just said out loud, and I just started shaking my head like she's gonna kill everybody. She's gonna kill everybody. And I remember just tweeting, and I'm pretty sure someone can go back and look up my old tweets at the time it was airing. I remember just tweeting like, no, 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 I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I can't believe this is happening. I can't, no, 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 no. Because it's just like, this is not how you handle it. Right? Even if you're gonna do like this arc where you take like a good character and turn them into someone that's capable of something like this isn't how you do it. You don't do it in a couple of episodes. And one thing too that's important to remember about this scene, and the reason that it's an extra layer to it as to why it sucks to see her burning everyone like that, is because like apart from that initial
bizarre, confusing, whoa, freak out face that she does at first, um, we don't know what's on Danny's mind. She becomes a mere object of destruction and annihilation. She becomes like she becomes the Kraken unleashed upon the city. She's no longer a character. So it does not cut to her face again in the episode. So we don't see pain. We don't see anger. We don't see despair. We don't even see madness. We see nothing. We see a blank monster flying in the sky killing everybody. So like what's happening in that moment is like it feels in a way, even though it is Danny burning everyone, it feels like utterly disconnected from her, right? It feels disconnected from that character to see it happening that way. And that is not what you want to go for as a showrunner and as someone that's making. That's not what you want as in a television show. Like that should have been painful in a different way, right? If they were going to go that route with complete lunatics. I mean, not even like I said, if they were going to go that route with someone being capable of doing that, it should have been painful in a different way, and it should have been something that was set up over multiple seasons. But yeah, guys. Yeah. I mean, we could go on. We could really go on. But we seriously can't go on because I actually have to run. Like I said, guys, Tadia. The campaign is launching. Tadia. Oh, thank you so much, Andrew McFarland. $100 super chat. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Right at the end.
The daily double.
Yeah. I love your videos. Can't wait for a Chapter House video. Keep up the great work. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want to do any like lingering donations, hit up the PayPal link in the description. Throw out any super chats if you guys want to get any last questions to me before I run off. I'm gonna like stand up and do a little dance. I'm gonna dance for money. Give me the money. Give me the PayPal. You like that? You guys like that? Yeah, you like that, don't you? Rub my Blu-rays on me. Is this worth it for you? Pouring myself out for you people?
Sexy.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for joining me. Thanks everyone that came. Mike says, please don't dance for money. Thanks everyone that came to support the stream. Thanks everyone that's been supporting the channel. I am so excited, like I said, to show Tadia to the world. Yeah, it's so, like I said, we got veteran artist on it, Mike Miller, right in the chat right there, doing one of the covers. We got Kanan White doing one of the covers, and it's amazing. I just saw it today, the finished cover for Kanan. Weldon is doing one of the covers, Matthew Weldon, obviously. John Francois, who just did Middle West in Image Comics, the colorist. That is amazing. Like, one of the best colorists I've ever seen. Literally just published in Image. So that is amazing that we even have him. And yeah, it's just very, very exciting. Gonna launch it. The links are all over the place. Twitter, description, YouTube channel. You can look at the art. You can look at some of the art currently on the community page on my channel. It's all there. There's a bunch on Twitter. There's on Facebook. Campaign is going live on the 14th. It's ready. We're doing this, guys. It's very, 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 very exciting. And yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to showing it to everyone and having everybody experience it. Let me just refresh this one last time to make sure there's not any like lingering thingamajigs that I missed. Because we are on a limited connection right now. That's why I am streaming from my phone. But I had to chat with you guys for a little bit because I know I've been kind of busy. Been moving around a little bit. It's the final portion of the stream where we just kind of end and talk about everything. Dark on Netflix. Yes, I will be watching the final season of Dark. It's coming out pretty dang soon. A couple weeks. Yeah. But yeah, Tadia. Links everywhere. Thanks everyone. Peace. It's been an honor to come on here and vent about Game of Thrones a little bit. And this might be something that we didn't even get to like half the characters that are terrible. because I only have like I really got to go now. But we didn't really get to like half the characters. We still get to talk about like Jon, Ramsay Bolton, like Jesus Christ, so over the top. Sansa, like give me a break, Sansa. Like shouldn't there be leather on those breastplates? Because literally the people, like how do you know that and they don't, like why aren't they already doing that? Like why is Sansa the first person that notices this? You know what I mean? Like what? But yeah, on another string. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for your super chats and PayPals. It's always appreciated. Thanks, everyone, for commenting. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. And peace, guys. It's been an honor. Now I will walk out of the frame dramatically.